The city was loud, full of flying cars, neon lights, and people always in a rush. Robots cleaned the streets, drones flew above, and giant screens showed news from far-off planets. But in one quiet corner near an old cafe, a boy stood with a small wooden instrument. His name was Tomil. He was only 13, thin and quiet. He wore an old coat and torn shoes. In his hands, he held a strange string instrument that looked like a mix of a guitar and a harp. It wasn't made from earth materials. Its strings glowed softly, and when he played, the sound was warm, deep, and full of feeling. People sometimes dropped coins or small credit chips in his case, but most walked by without looking. He didn't care much. He played because it made him feel alive. That afternoon, the wind was gentle and the sun peeked through the tall buildings. Tomil sat on a step and began to play a soft tune. The sound traveled through the street. For a moment, the noise of the city seemed to quiet. A man in a long black coat walked slowly by. His white beard moved with the wind and a golden pin on. His chest showed a strange symbol, a circle with 3 stars inside it. This man was Mr. Rendell, one of the richest people in the city. He had built companies that made machines, ships, and even cities on the moon. But he walked without any bodyguards, holding a simple walking stick. He paused when he heard the music. Tomil didn't notice him at first. His eyes were closed, and his fingers moved gently over the glowing strings. When the tune ended, Rendell clapped slowly. Tomil opened his eyes, surprised. He stood up quickly and reached for his case, thinking the man might scold him for playing in a public place. But Rendell only smiled. "Where did you learn to play like that?" he asked in a kind voice. Tomil looked down. "I just listened to the old records in the library, and I made the rest myself." "That is not an earth song," Rendell said quietly. "That sound, it's from far away." Tomil blinked. "You know it?" Rendell nodded slowly. "Yes, I heard a melody like that once, years ago, when I visited the outer colonies. But that was on a planet where humans had never gone before." Tomil looked confused. "But I've never left the city. I don't even have an ID card." Rendell leaned closer. "Tell me, where did you get that instrument?" Tomil hesitated. "My mother gave it to me before she disappeared. She said it was special. She said to never sell it." Rendell's eyes narrowed slightly. He looked at the strings, then at the boy. "That's not just an instrument," he said. "It's a beacon." "A what?" Tomil asked. "It's a signal. A kind of calling device. The music it makes is not only for humans. It speaks to something older." Tomil suddenly felt cold. "My mother said I should only play when I feel lost." Rendell stood straight. His voice became serious. "Tomil, if you played that melody today, someone may have heard it. Someone not from Earth." The boy stared at him, heart beating fast. "You're not safe anymore," Rendell said. "But you might be very important." Tomil took a step back. "What do you mean?" "I mean," the old man said, "you're not just a street boy playing. For coins, you may be the key to something much bigger." Rendell looked at the sky. "And if they heard you, they might already be coming." Tomil stood still, holding his glowing instrument tightly. His heart was racing. The old man's words repeated in his mind. They might already be coming. Mr. Rendell looked calm, but his eyes showed something deeper, something between fear and wonder. "Who are you?" Tomil finally asked. Rendell smiled slightly. "Someone who's seen strange things. I've been to worlds that still don't appear on maps. I've met people with silver eyes and plants that sing." Tomil didn't know whether to believe him, but something in the man's voice felt true. "You said this is a beacon," Tomil said. "But who will it call?" Rendell looked up at the sky again. "Not who did that, but what?" "Long ago, humans weren't the only ones who used sound to speak across the stars. There were others, ancient beings who understood the universe and music." Tomil sat down slowly, confused but curious. And my mother, did she know? Rendell nodded. She must have. She left you that instrument to protect something, or maybe to continue something. Tomil looked at the strings. They no longer glowed, but he could still feel a soft warmth coming from them. But I'm just a boy who plays on the street. Why me? Because, Rendell said, sometimes the most powerful things are given to those with the quietest voices. Before Tomo could speak again, a strange sound filled the air. It wasn't loud, but it vibrated through the ground like a deep hum that only the bones could hear. Rendell turned sharply. It's too soon. What is it? Tomil asked, standing up. A ship, Rendell said. Not from Earth. Suddenly the sky changed color. Clouds spun in a circle, and a small dark shape appeared in the center. It was smooth, silent, and round. Floating like a stone in water. People around them stopped. Some took out their phones. Some pointed. Most just stared. The object slowly moved down toward the city square. It didn't have any engines. It didn't make any sound. But it glowed with the same soft light as Tomil's instrument. They heard your song, Rendell whispered. Tomil took a step back. Are they here to hurt us? I don't think so, Rendell replied. They don't travel for war. They travel for memory, for music, for something lost. As the ship hovered a few meters above the ground, a beam of light reached out and touched Tomil's instrument. The strings lit up again, brighter than ever before. Tomil's fingers moved. On their own. His hands played a new melody, one he had never learned. But it felt like he had always known it. The city fell silent. Even the birds stopped flying. People watched as the boy played, and the ship responded. Colors danced across the sky. The clouds turned gold and silver. The air smelled sweet, like flowers. After rain, Rendell stepped back, letting Tomo be the center of it all. The melody continued for 2 full minutes. Then the beam of light faded. The ship made a soft tone, almost like a thank you, and rose back into the sky. In seconds, it was gone. The crowd stayed frozen. No one moved. Then slowly, people began to clap. A reporter shouted, "What just happened?" "A woman cried. Was that real?" Rendell put a hand on Tomil's shoulder. "You did something powerful, boy. You reminded the stars that humans can still sing." Tomil felt tired, but calm. "What happens now?" Rendell looked serious again. "Now, we must find out why your mother gave you that instrument, and who she really was." Tomil held the glowing strings gently. "I think," he said, "my story is just beginning." The next morning, the city was still talking about the ship. News channels showed blurry videos of the glowing object and the boy playing music. Some said it was a trick. Others believed it was a sign from another world, but Tomil didn't care what people thought. He knew it had been real. He sat in the back seat of Mr. Rendell's quiet black car as it drove through the higher part of the city. The windows were tinted, and everything inside smelled like clean metal and leather. Mr. Rendell sat beside him, holding a small silver device. He spoke softly into it, giving commands to someone on the other end. Tomil looked out the window. He had never been in this part of the city. The roads were clean. The buildings were tall and shining. Robots stood at every corner. It felt like another world. After a few minutes, the car stopped in front of a large house made of stone and glass. It was quiet. No people, no noise, only the sound of wind moving through the trees. Rendell opened the door and stepped out. "Come," he said. Tomil followed him through the gate and into the house. The inside was wide and warm. A fire burned in the corner. Walls were full of oaks and strange objects, rocks, metal pieces, and small machines from different worlds. "You live here alone?" Tomil asked. "Yes," Rendell replied. "But I've never been lonely. I have memory and secrets." He walked to a bookshelf and pressed one of the books. With a soft click, the wall behind it opened like a door. Tomil's eyes widened. A secret room? Yes, Rendell said. And you need to see what's inside. They walked down a short staircase into a hidden room below the house. The lights turned on by themselves. The room was full of old papers, holograms, and maps of stars. In the center stood a glass case. Inside it was an object that looked almost like Tamel's instrument, only darker and broken. Tamil walked toward it. This, Rendell said, was the first beacon I ever found. On a moon near the edge of human space. It was inside a cave. Surrounded by symbols. I never understood it. Until I heard your music. Tamil looked closer. It's the same design. Yes, Rendell replied. But yours still works. Yours called the ship. Tamil asked, did you ever meet them? No, Rendell said. Only silence. Until now. He pointed to a picture on the wall. It was a photograph of a woman with kind eyes holding the glowing instrument. Is this your mother? Tamil nodded slowly. Yes, that's her. Her name was Mara. Rendell's voice grew quiet. Then I knew her. Tamil turned to him in surprise. You did? Many years ago, Rendell said. She was a scientist, a traveler. She worked on a project about sound and memory. Then, she disappeared. She told me never to stop playing, Tamil whispered. Rendell nodded. She must have known the truth and trusted you to carry it. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A soft hum filled the room like the sound the ship had made before. Tamel's instrument, which hung on his back, began to glow again. Rendell looked around. They're sending something. What is it? Tamil asked. Rendell pressed a button on his device. A hologram appeared in the air. It showed a symbol 3 rings and a star in the middle. The symbol spun slowly. They want to meet. Rendell said, Where? Rendell's face turned serious. Not on Earth. They're asking us to come to them. Tamil felt nervous but curious. Will you come with me? Rendell smiled. Yes, but only if you're ready. Tamil looked at the glowing strings on his instrument. Then he looked at the stars on the map. I'm ready, he said. The stars above the city twinkled like diamonds. Tamil stood beside Mr. Rendell on the rooftop of the house. The wind was cool, and the night sky seemed larger than ever before. Below them, the city continued its normal life, cars flying, people walking, lights glowing. But for Tamil, everything had changed. He was no longer just a street boy with an old instrument. Now, he was someone chosen. By something far beyond Earth. They sent a location, Rendell said, holding a small silver device. It's a planet, a quiet one. No cities, no people, just a signal. Tamil looked up. How far is it? 3 days, Rendell answered. In the ship I built long ago, it's hidden under this house. Tamil's eyes widened. You have a spaceship? Rendell smiled. Of course. You think I became rich only by building things for others? He pressed a button on his wrist. The ground nearby opened, revealing a hidden platform. Slowly, a silver ship rose from below. It was smooth and shaped like a bird, with wide wings and a shining front window. Tamil whispered, It's beautiful. It's called the Star Whisperer, Rendell said. Built for one purpose, to go where no one dares. Inside the ship, the air smelled clean and cool. Soft lights glowed along the walls. The chairs were wide and comfortable, with soft belts. A glass window stretched across the front, showing the sky. Rendell sat in the pilot's seat and motioned for Tamil to sit beside him. Ready? Tamil nodded. He held his instrument tight across his lap. With a soft hum, the ship rose into the air. It passed through the clouds, through the edge of the atmosphere, and into space. The stars now surrounded them completely. Tamil stared out in wonder. I've never seen space like this. Most people haven't, Rendell replied. But you belong here more than most. As they moved through space, Tamil spent his time learning from Rendell. The old man showed him star charts, taught him how to read messages sent through light, and even let him help steer the ship for a while. At night, Tamil sat in his small room and played soft melodies. The instrument seemed to respond, changing its tone depending on where they were in space. It was like the stars themselves were listening. On the second night, something strange happened. Tamil played a slow tune, one his mother used to hum. As the final note faded, the lights in the ship blinked once. Then a soft voice spoke, not from the speakers, but from the air itself. "The child sings. The path is open." Tamil stood up quickly. "Did you hear that?" he asked. Rendell ran in from the control room. "Yes, I heard it. Who was it?" Rendell looked serious. "Them." The next morning, the planet appeared ahead. It was dark blue, with white clouds and one glowing ring around it. The signal was coming from its surface. The ship landed gently in a wide field full of tall silver grass. Strange trees grew in the distance, thin and glowing. The sky was deep purple. Tamil stepped outside. The air was fresh, almost sweet. "This place doesn't feel empty," he said. Rendell nodded. "It's quiet, but something is here, watching." The instrument on Tamil's back began to glow again. A small path lit up in the grass, leading toward a tall rock in the distance. Without speaking, Tamil followed the path. Rendell walked beside him. As they reached the rock, a symbol appeared on its surface, the same one Tamil had seen in the hologram. 3 rings and a star. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A beam of light came from the sky and surrounded them. A voice echoed in the air. "He has come. The last one who remembers, the boy who carries the ancient song." Tamil stood still. The instrument glowed brighter than ever before. Rendell whispered, "They knew you would come." Tamil looked up, heart pounding. "But what do they want from me?" The voice answered softly, "Not what we want, but what you are." Tamil stood inside the circle of light. The tall stone in front of him glowed with soft blue lines. His instrument hummed gently on his back, as if it knew something important was about to happen. Rendell stood just behind him, silent and alert. His hand rested on the small scanner at his side, but his eyes were on the boy. The voice from above spoke again, clear but soft. "He carries the melody of the first ones, the memory that cannot be destroyed." Tamil stepped forward slowly. "Who are you?" he asked. His voice didn't echo. It simply disappeared into the light. There was a pause. "We are the echo, the ones who came before your kind. We gave the stars their voices. We lived through music, not machines." Tamil tried to understand. "Why did you call me?" "Because you remembered a sound that was lost," the voice replied. "You are the last child of the song." Rendell stepped forward. "What do you mean, last child?" "He's just a boy. He doesn't even know where he truly came from." The stone began to show images. Glowing shapes floated in the air, pictures from the past. A woman with kind eyes, holding a glowing instrument. She stood with others who wore long robes and had peaceful faces. Behind them, stars burned bright in strange skies. Tamil whispered, "That's my mother." "Her name was Mara," the voice said. "She was one of us, sent to Earth to protect the last beacon, to keep the memory alive." Tamil's chest tightened. "She never told me." "She could not," said the echo. "Your world had forgotten. They feared what they could not explain." More images appeared. Cities burning. People fighting over technology they did not understand. The beacons being taken, broken, or hidden. "She ran to protect you, and to keep the song safe." Tamil looked down at the instrument on his back. He suddenly felt a deep connection to it, as if it was not just a tool, but part of who he was. Rendell took a step closer. "So this isn't just music, it's something more." "It is memory," said the voice. "Each note carries a truth, a part of what we were. Now only one beacon remains, and one voice that can play it." Tomil looked at the glowing lines on the stone. They started to form a pattern, like music notes written in light. The voice spoke again. "Play the song, and we will return. Do not play, and we will remain forgotten." Tomil turned to Rendell. "What should I do?" The old man looked into his eyes. "This is not my choice. This is yours. But I believe your mother gave you that gift for a reason. And now, it's time to find out what it really means." Tomil nodded slowly. He took the instrument from his back. The strings glowed the moment his fingers touched them. He didn't think. He didn't try to remember any song. His hands moved on their own, as if they were following instructions written deep inside his heart. The melody rose into the air soft, clear, and full of emotion. The silver grass around them swayed. The trees in the distance began to glow brighter. The sky above turned golden dot, then the light in the stone burst into colors, blue, green, silver, and gold, all spinning in harmony. Dot from the clouds above. A shape began to descend. Dot, it was not a machine. Dot, it was a being tall, bright, and glowing like the sun, but gentle like moonlight. Its face had no mouth or eyes, only soft lines of light. Tomil stopped playing. The being stood in front of him and lowered its head as if bowing. "The music has returned. The memory is safe once more." Rendell stepped back, eyes wide. Tomil whispered, "What happens now?" The echo being reached out and touched Tomil's forehead with a finger of light. "Now," it said, "you must decide what kind of future your people will create with the song of the stars in your hands." The ship, Star Whisperer, entered Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. People across the world looked up and pointed. Some recorded it. Others simply stared in silence. Inside the ship, Tomil sat with his glowing instrument across his lap. His face was calm, but his heart was full of questions. Would people listen? Would they understand? Or would they fear what they did not know? Rendell looked at him. This world doesn't always welcome what's different. But remember, truth doesn't need to shout. It only needs to be heard. Tomil nodded. Dot, they landed in the same city where it had all started, the place where Tomil once played on the street corner for coins. Now he had returned with the song of the stars. The news spread fast. Strange ship lands in old city. The music boy returns. Alien song or ancient secret? Crowds gathered. Reporters stood outside the gates of Rendell's home. Drones flew overhead. Police watched carefully. Everyone wanted answers, but Tomil didn't speak right away. He sat in the garden behind the house and played soft tunes each evening. The same glowing notes floated into the air, touching hearts in quiet ways. Some laughed and called it a trick. Some listened and cried. Some didn't understand, but they felt something deep inside. On the fourth evening, Rendell called a small press meeting. No cameras, just people who truly wanted to know. Tomil stepped forward with his instrument. He said nothing at first. Then he began to play. The song wasn't long, but it was full of feelings like wind, light, and old memories. When it ended, no one clapped. They just sat in silence, their hearts full. Then Tomil finally spoke. "My name is Tomil. I used to play music for coins. My mother gave me this instrument. She told me to play when I felt lost. One day, I played a song I didn't understand, and the stars answered." He looked around at the quiet faces. There are voices out there, older than us. They don't speak with words. They speak with sound, with feeling. They remember who we were before we forgot. Someone asked from the crowd, "What do they want?" Tomil answered, "Nothing. They only ask us to remember, to feel, to connect not through machines or power, but through something simple. Like music." A teacher stood up. "Can we learn the song?" Tomil smiled. "Yes, but you don't need my hands to play it. You just need to listen, and then feel it in your own way." That night, Rendell received thousands of messages. Some wanted to meet Tomil, some wanted to stop him. Others wanted to help. A few world leaders sent quiet invitations. Music schools called to offer training. And a small child from another city sent a video playing a soft tune on a wooden box, saying, "I tried. Did I do it right?" Tomil watched the video and cried. In the weeks that followed, the song spread not by force, not by broadcast, but by heart. People played it in parks, on rooftops, in classrooms, even in hospitals. Some didn't play it perfectly, but that didn't matter. The music wasn't about skill. It was about memory. Still, not everyone welcomed it. A few powerful voices said it was a lie. They feared it. They said it came from aliens and must be stopped. Tomil didn't argue with them. He just played. And more people listened. One night, as he sat in the garden again, a woman came to visit. She wore a long coat, and her eyes were full of tears. "I knew your mother," she said. "Long ago, before she vanished. She told me one day her child would finish what she started." Tomil stood. "Do you know what that is?" The woman smiled. "Yes, you're not just sharing music. You're waking up a sleeping world." Tomil looked up at the sky. The stars no longer seemed far. Tomil stood still. The glowing being in front of him had just touched his forehead. Its light was warm, not hot. Its touch felt like a memory, something forgotten, but still alive inside him. The music had stopped, but the sound of it still floated in the air, soft and full of meaning. Mr. Rendell watched carefully, his eyes wide. He had seen many things in his life, but never something like this. The being of light spoke again. Its voice was not loud, but it filled the space around them. "You have awakened the echo. Now the song is yours to carry, or to end." Tomil looked down at his instrument. The strings were glowing softly. He remembered how it had been passed to him by his mother. He remembered the way she used to smile when he played, even small notes. "What do you mean, end the song?" he asked. "If you choose not to share it, the memory will stay inside you and fade when you do," the being said. "But if you share it with your people, they may remember who they were meant to be." Tomil looked up. "But humans, many of them don't listen. They care about power, not peace." The being's light dimmed slightly, like it was sad. "That is why you were chosen, not the strong, not the rich, but a boy who played for kindness, not coins." Mr. Rendell stepped forward. "If he shares the song, what happens?" The being looked at him. "Then the music will spread. Those who listen with open hearts will understand. The song will wake something ancient inside them. And Earth may begin again, not with machines, but with meaning." Tomil felt quiet inside. The world had always been loud, full of rushing people, screens, and empty noise. But now he held something different, something real. He looked around the glowing field. The silver grass, the golden sky, the strange peacefulness of this place, it all felt like a dream. But it wasn't. It was a message, and he was the messenger. "I want to share it," he said softly. "I want people to feel what I felt when I played it." The being glowed brighter again. "Then the song will live, and we will help." From the trees behind them, other lights appeared, more beings like the first one. They walked slowly, each carrying strange, beautiful instruments shaped like stars and moons. One by one, they began to play. Tomil listened. The sound was not like earth music. It was deeper, like wind and water and sky all singing together. Then Tomil raised his own instrument and joined in. Rendell stepped back as the music filled the whole valley. The sky above turned into a map of stars. Names and places appeared, forgotten planets, lost songs, histories buried in time. The music did not speak in words, but it told stories of peace, of mistakes, of hope. And it ended with Earth, small and young, still learning. When the song was over, Tomil turned to Rendell. "We have to go back." Rendell nodded. "Yes, the world needs to hear it." The echo being stepped forward one last time. "You are now keeper of the song, but the gift is not yours to keep. Share it freely. Only then will your people remember what it means to be human. Tomil bowed his head. I will. The being touched the instrument once more. A symbol appeared on its center, a glowing star inside 3 rings. Then the beings slowly faded into the sky, like dust joining the stars. Rendell and Tomil walked back to the ship. The silver grass moved gently in the wind behind them, Dot inside the Star Whisperer. Tomil sat in the co-pilot seat, the instrument across his lap. His heart felt full not of fear, but of purpose. Rendell looked at him with quiet pride. You were never just a street boy, Tomil smiled. And you were never just a rich man. The ship rose into the air. The planet below slowly disappeared. Ahead of them, Earth waited.